Don, I keep hearing about TB, and if TB is such a problem and they go and kill loads of badgers out in the countryside, is there a danger that in urban settings local authorities won't, and many people won't consider badgers as valuable or as valuable wild animals? They'll just think, well, they're killing them all out in the countryside, so why can't they kill them here? And that's one question. And another question is, what do you think about this TB? Is it true that badgers can give cattle TB? And how big is the scale of the problem? There's probably a lot of questions in this, actually. I'm sorry about that, but be interested to hear you answer them.
Well, first of all, nobody has proved that badgers give cattle bovine TB. Now, years ago, I picked up a badger at Peacehaven that had got bovine TB, because you say, well, how did I know that it had got it? Because there's at least five different ways that bovine TB is arrives into any animal and affects them. This one had just got whacking great big lesions in his skin. So it was sent to the laboratory at Maidstone, and the young lady who did the test said, Mr. Wise, that badger had the same strain of TB that the cattle had on the farm in 1954. And so I said, well, it's such an awful sight for the badgers. There's only 3 or 4 there. Could the ministry completely put them to sleep and wipe the set out, because it's not good?
Right.
No, we're not interested. There's no cattle there now. It's all been built on. It doesn't matter anymore. That was their attitude. But from that and the talking to the lady, I understand now there is more than 49 different strains of bovine TB that can be identified.
Right.
Now, if that's a case, why haven't the ministry said, well, on farm A, the cattle have got bovine TB, and it's the same strain as the badger set on that farm?
Oh yes, that would be intelligent.
If the badgers on that farm have got a different strain of bovine TB, it wouldn't have come. They wouldn't have given it to that herd. Now, with 49 strains,
yes, it's not a huge amount.
Why haven't the ministry been honest with all members of the public and said, we are.
Do you think they
exactly what's been going on?
Do you think
they because there's so much money involved.
That's what I was gonna. Yeah.
That they don't want the vets don't want to know, because otherwise they wouldn't have a job. The next thing is, unfortunately, I was born in Crowborough Hospital, and I grew up on my father's farm, which was just about 400 acres between Rotherfield and Erridge. And my father, that is, and lots of others, joined the voluntary scheme that for eradication of TB and brucellosis just before the war started. And the voluntary scheme, in my view, was the biggest revolution in British agriculture for many, many centuries, even more important than Tull's drill. And the thing is this, if each farmer who joined the scheme, if he did everything properly, all water courses had to be double fenced, so the cattle couldn't get any natural water courses at all. And then the ministry laid on, water tanks, in other words, made water all around their farm. So suddenly, instead of my father's cattle having to roam nearly half a day to get water from an old ram pump that pumped it out the river, suddenly the farm could be all shut off in different fields and other crops could be grown. So there was a whole revolution, really, that helped provide a lot more food in the war, besides getting rid of brucellosis and bovine TB. Now, it was going very well until Mrs. Thatcher altered things, her government altered things, and suddenly it didn't matter if cattle walked through the fences, didn't matter, the slurry and all the rest of it didn't matter. That wasn't an effect. Now, since then, bovine TB has crept up in the national herd. The other thing that's very important, which is also a bit sad, because I was born where I was a member and eventually the chairman of Frant Young Farmers Club, and Frant was the Borough and Welcome research station. That's where AI was invented, right, and how made practical work. Well, it was wonderful for a start, because farmers suddenly, their little herds didn't need a bull.
What's artificial insemination?
Sorry?
Artificial insemination.
AI, sorry,
right.
Artificial insemination. Yeah.
Okay.
But the trouble is, it's got to the stage now where the idiots use one bull on thousands and thousands of females, heifers and...
That's going to spread
right?
TB, isn't
so
it?
So the gene bank has got very narrow. They've even been daft enough to use it, one sire on 2 or 3 the same, inbred.
Gosh.
Incense in human terms, isn't it? Inbred, and it got so inbred really that the gene bank is so small and weak now that that's another factor that's helping to encourage TB in cattle. The third factor is quite simple. Farmers are not, and I emphasise this, they are not providing rations for maintenance. They're just providing rations mainly for milk production. Do you follow? If you look on TV,
nutrients,
you'll see all the cows and that very no flesh on them.
Do you think that some of the cattle are feeding on land that is low in nutrients because they've been farmed for many years, and that this could be a weakened immune system that might lead to that being the cause, partly because things with weakened immune systems are more likely to catch?
Yeah, well, you see, most of the dairy cattle now are contained in yards and slurry, and they eat haylage. Is it haylage? We've gone from silage to haylage, haven't we? Which would, as you just suggested, come from fields that have been fertilised with very high production fertilisers with lots of nitrogen and not balanced anymore.
Right.
Yes, but the another factor is that forever, I think, Ireland has produced a lot of what I would call bullocks, young beef type animals. And they come over and they're finished in the West Country, Somerset, where there's Cornwall and that, where they've got high incidence of TB. Now, most of those animals are never tested before they come to this country, and any TB they have, they bring with them, and that's been going on for generations, and that is where they've got all these TB hotspots.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I don't think the Irish have had problems, and they've been killing badgers to get rid of TB, haven't they? And of course, it doesn't work.
Actually, we'll do this in 2 parts. So this is the end of part 1.